Welcome back to Resurrection Auto. I know it's been a little while since we've posted. I was out sick for a couple of weeks, and now Jordan's been out sick for a couple of weeks. So hasn't been really easy trying to get any content or anything since we ended up so far behind. We've been trying to catch up on customer stuff, and finally caught up. So we've got our 51 GMC cab over in here today. If you haven't already, go check out the videos before on this thing. There's, I don't know, 1 or 2 videos of us, getting the cab mounted and all that other jazz there. Now I am to getting motor and trans mounted and running. That's this guy right here. So it's a 350 and a Turbo 400 trans. I got to get those mounted and get all that stuff done so then I can get all of the wiring. So if you look, I've just kind of got the wiring run roughly to where it needs to go, but it needs to get, final ran and then all loomed, because can't have that just running through your engine bay. This is all wiring we're not using. That's just extra stuff that came on the block. We've got our key switch all wired up there. This is for power for the brake, lights, and a bunch of other junk like that. But I gotta see what size bolts I need for the motor mounts, because that is not the right style motor mount. That's a like an early style mount, and that's not what we're using. We're using the late style mount, which is actually right for this frame. So I gotta see what size bolts those are. I think they're 3/8 by 1 inch or whatever, but just got to figure that out so I can run to town, get the mounting bolts, bolt our mounts on. Then I can take this grill piece off here, that guy, and pull that out, and then I can slip the motor and trans in there, and then I have to build a trans cross member because I didn't have one on this or on this chassis. I might have an older one that I can modify to fit though, so we'll see what happens there. Just got back from Menards, got a bunch of nut bolts, washers, all that good stuff, so get those mounted on. So I'm gonna do that real quick, get these mounted on, and then we can drop that motor in there. Okay, we got our motor mounts in, boom and boom. So they're bolted up. Now I'm gonna drag the motor over here and see if we can't get it in there and lined up, the bolts in it. The only problem that I see that we might have is header clearance. So these headers, I believe, were for a Camaro, but they were the closest thing that I could find. So I think, don't hold me to this, I think they're gonna fit, and possibly our steering might be in the way of one of the headers or something, but we tried getting it over this way as far as we could so we wouldn't have that issue, and it kind of goes right up. Most of the time, headers, they come around off the motor and then kind of over and down. So we'll see what happens. We'll get it over here. I'll get you guys up on a stand, see if we can't get this thing mounted up. So check it out. Motor is in there. The headers do clear on both sides. I had to take this one off to get that bolt in the rest of the way. I got it started, but I couldn't get it through the back because it was cocked. But took that off. Can get to that. I'm going to leave it off because I'm going to get my starter wiring all done before I put that back on. Just make it a little easier for me. Don't have to try and wedge myself between the header, motor, and frame. But it sits in there nice. Now I gotta go back, and in one of the vans that we have a bajillion things in, I'm gonna measure and see if I have a drive shaft that's close with the right yokes and stuff on it, and I'm going to see if I have a cross member for this frame. Now, I didn't get one with this frame, but I had one from another chassis, and I'm wondering if I can modify it to fit this without too much of a headache. Otherwise, I'll just build a whole new cross member for it. It's not a big deal. They're not very hard to build. So I'm gonna run out back, look for those things real quick. We'll be back. So check it out. cross member is almost perfect. It doesn't fit in the proper spots, but it'll fit in a spot where there's already some holes, so we can drill those, screw this thing down. Shouldn't be an issue. I had a drive shaft that was the right length, or at least really close to the right length, to where it's not going to make a schmitz worth of difference. The other thing is the U-joint on the shaft is much smaller than the U-joint on the back of this Turbo 400. So I should be able to get a conversion U-joint for this. I also have to check and make sure that's the same on there, but it's not looking promising. That looks a lot bigger than this, so I'll have to probably get a conversion U-joint for back here as well. Okay, we gotta run into town. The transmission mount that's on that trans is 100% wasted, so just gonna go down and grab a new one and see if I can get our conversion U-joints as well, and a couple other little miscellaneous things that we need for this big guy here. Just got back from the parts store and they don't have any of the parts that I need, so waiting on that trans cross member mount and the conversion U-joints for this drive shaft. Not really a big deal. Got a bunch of other stuff I can do. So I'm gonna go out back. Got a couple of trucks out back. I don't have any accessories to put on this thing. Don't have an alternator, power steering pump. There is a water pump on it, but don't have any other pulleys. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go out back. We're going to pull all those off one of the trucks out back, bring them up here, put them on here, and then I can start doing wiring and all that jazz. Getting motor and, well, I was gonna say and trans wired up, but trans doesn't have any wiring to it. So get all that stuff done, and suppose we'll go from there. Real back, got this old GMC pickup out here. So pretty sure that this has a different water pump and everything too. So I'm just gonna take the entire front contents off the front of this motor and see if you know, we can get her to work on that one that we have up front. Either this one, or I might peel it off one of the other pickups that we've got. But I'm thinking that this stuff will work, because just good old 3-wire, the bracket and everything, it's all here. Just easy stuff to work with. So gonna get it. Okay, so we got our accessories here. We won't be using the fan, because on the radiator that we have, it's got mounted on the back 2 E-fans. But everything else here we're gonna use, so I gotta pull off the stuff that's on the front of this and put this stuff on. I'm hoping that the power steering stuff will fit. I don't know if it will. I gotta check that real quick, because, you know, this pump hangs over down here instead of, it's a different bracket anyway, because it's from an older truck than what this chassis is. So I'm gonna check that stuff out, make sure everything's gonna fit good, and then we should be good to go. As you see, the trans is now leaking. The pan started leaking, so I've got a new one of them ordered as well. So trans pan, got a you know, the mount. I got our conversion U-joints so we can use the shaft, and yeah, all that stuff. So it's all coming together though. I mean, just slowly but surely. Our biggest hurdle, I think, is going to be the brakes, because there's not any room here. So this is going to have to, I'm going to have to get like a 90-degree thing from an old van or something, mount here. So then it'll come over like this. And then the booster and stuff will be here. And then lines will come down. But I got to go to Cooley's for that. I got to go to Cooley's for a few other things. I got to get another fender for the back of this thing as well. But yeah, so that's just kind of where we're at. I'm gonna check this stuff out, and if it fits, we're gonna go with it. different accessories on here. I do have a different alternator to put on. That's a GM 1-wire. This is a 3-wire. I don't like using these. I just like the simplicity of a 1-wire. I have a 1-wire. It's at my house. I gotta go get it and put it on here. And it's nice shiny chrome because, you know, you see under the hood of these things a lot. No, you really don't. Didn't need a chrome one. That's the only one I could find though, so that's what I bought. Fuel pump is on. I ran a line up here because I don't know where the fuel inlet is going to be on this Edelbrock. It's in the pretty typical Edelbrock spot around the corner here in the back. So I got enough line ran up there to get to that. Then just put a little, you know, piece of hose in between to couple it together. Not a big deal. I got to pick up an adapter, you know, spread board, a square bore adapter tomorrow. Let's see what else we got going on here. I'm gonna run the fuel line where I just had it. It's right there on the box. Gonna run that through the frame here out back to kind of roughly where the fuel cell is gonna be, and I'm gonna run the alternator wiring and the starter wiring and stuff all to kind of roughly where it's going to reside. So it's all going to kind of go right through that hole. Actually, the starter wire and stuff will go down through a hole that's over here, go through there, kind of peek out through the frame back there, and we're going to have a battery box and stuff in the back, easy to get to, so that, you know, if you need to jump start this thing or something, you don't have to go through a headache of trying to, you know, dig into a battery that's under the hood of these things. So it'll be easy, nice, quick, you know, not a bad deal. I got battery cables and stuff over here, so alternator wiring. Here's our battery cables. We have, you know, red for positive and that's a brown for negative. This stuff, it kind of looks like auto or audio wire or whatever, but it's rated for starters and stuff, which is odd. So I don't know. Doesn't really bother me. I've used it in the past. Works great. And yeah, I mean, this thing's coming together. Makes me really happy. Because once I get that fuel line ran and stuff, I can start kind of digging into the wiring on this thing just a little bit, getting everything kind of closer to where it's going to be. So let's do some wiry stuff and running fuel line. Well, since it's 5 o'clock, I'm thirsty. Now, we got our fuel line runs out back, all the way to the back. So it runs through the frame and through the frame, then underneath the frame and wrapped around to here. Because I'm gonna put the fuel cell right here. I don't know if I'll get to that tomorrow or the next day. Hoping to have this thing running and driving by the end of the week. That's the plan. Don't hold me to it. Now, Dave's pulling up, so I'm not sure where we left off, but battery cable, or the, not battery cable, the alternator wiring is ran to here. Probably could have just ran that to the starter, which I might just pull it back through and just hook it to the starter wire so that I don't waste so much of this. Although I already kind of cut it, so I guess whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna leave it or hook it straight to the battery. It'll be better that way. Yeah, so that's all ran, it's all good. Let's see, in here, you know, mess of wiring, and now we got a small block in here. Yeah, see, we're not gonna have to have hardly any little hump here. Just enough for an air cleaner, and that's about it. Air cleaner and the distributor. Distributor's got to go in yet. But, I mean, this thing's going to be pretty tidy. You know, nice flat floor. Have plenty of room for your feet now. Yeah, this will be plenty good. Plenty good. Also, where to go? Hang on. Wait for it. Oh, here it is. thought I took it out of the bag. So this is cloth tape. Looks so much better than regular electrical tape. So much better. You can buy this stuff on eBay. Highly recommend it if you're doing wiring looms and stuff. Like, I mean, just look. Boom. It's all, you know, nice on the ends. Well, I had some more somewhere, I thought, but I don't. So, yeah. So this stuff, it's awesome. It's cheap. Buy it. And the wire loom. That shit's awesome, too. Sorry, just kind of rambling. Don't really know where I'm going with this, but I'm going to keep wiring. I think I'm at a good place to stop for the night. Got some of the wiring kind of cleaned up, buttoned up a little bit because it was kind of all over the place and wild before. You know, motor is bolted in. I got to do the cross member, the drive shaft, and some other stuff tomorrow. But look at that. We're all in there. Front accessories are done. I have to have a high pressure line made for it because the one that's on here is not the right one to go to that pump, so not a big deal. I gotta get my alternator. I'll probably grab that tomorrow morning. I cut off all that big mess of wires that was just hanging off here and taped those up. See, I loomed all of the wires that were running across here, loomed all of those together. Our starter wires ran. I, of course, as soon as I started undoing the wire that was on the starter, right there, I broke the frickin' starter. So that's cool. So gotta get a starter, or we might have one in the back. I gotta check. But nonetheless, I gotta put a starter on it, which really is a bummer. I really didn't want to put another, you know, $80 into this thing. But whatever. So I'll pluck that off tomorrow as well, so we can get that wiring done. I'll have to build a battery tray tomorrow. I'm hoping, very hopeful here, to get, you know, the grill support piece back in, and then figure out where the radiator is going to sit, because then I can wire up that and build the mount for it, for the fans, and then, you know, figure out our hose situation. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for right now. Thanks for watching. We will see you tomorrow, or maybe the next day or the next day. I'm not really sure when the next video is going to be, because I might have to do some fire safety stuff at a school tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching.